Good morning.
Hey,
How are
good
y'all
morning.
today?
Gentlemen,
Morning.
How are y'all?
Matthew Hyder.
James Burchett, General Manager, Jacksonville Jaguars.
Nice to meet you, James.
Carl Hawkins, General Manager, Assistant.
Well, I'm Ryan Bean. We're here to represent Marquise Lee. As you know, he's had his most productive season. He was on the field for 16 games this year, and he's got one more year in his contract. After that, he'll be an unrestricted free agent, where we expect him to get paid on the market. But we like what the Jags are doing with the restructure and the amount of cap room y'all have here, so we're willing to stay, but we just want to try to make it work.
You want to get paid.
Always.
Right.
You guys drafted Marquise. It's important for most teams to try and keep the players that they drafted. Tell us how you feel about Mr. Lee.
Oh, we like Marquise. He performed for us this year. No problem with taking him back. We'd love to have him back.
Mm-hmm.
We just, we want to make a deal here that works for you guys and works for us. We want to pay him, what he's worth, and we want to, see him provide performance for us on into the future. So what are you guys looking at?
Let's start out, if you don't mind. Let's start out by talking about the length of the deal.
Okay.
That's probably one of the easiest things we can come on.
So he's coming off of a 4-year deal.
Correct.
Entry-level rookie contract.
25 years old.
25, 39th pick overall out of the second round with a mandatory $2.061 million signing bonus.
Okay. We're open to the idea of a 2-year deal. Maybe a little more. What are you guys thinking?
We wanted to discuss the possibility of a 5-year deal. So where can we meet in terms of that?
I think 5 years is, I can understand why you want to go 5 years. It's going to secure his spot here, and I understand that. But for us, 5 years is just too long. It's gonna open us up to, if he's injured, we don't want him injured. But if he is injured, then we're still locked in with him. So we're
not necessarily proposing a 5-year deal with guaranteed money at the back. So in actuality, we see that as a concession we're making for you. Yeah. We're Marquise is the only one really tied up in that 5-year deal. I mean, you could get to the 4th year and decide to cut him.
Sure, for nothing.
Which we hope that doesn't happen. But really, that 5-year deal is a benefit on your side as we see it.
I can concede to probably a 3-year deal. What do you think?
Why exactly do you guys feel like you need a 5-year deal?
Well, Alan Hearns just got a contract from y'all last season, very large with a $20 million guarantee. It's $9 million a year against the cap. It's almost 10% of y'all's actual salary y'all are paying to one wide receiver, and I'm pretty sure it was a 5-year contract as well. And he's 25 years old. He's the same as Marquise Lee.
Are you saying that's a bad deal, or?
No, I'm not at all. I'm saying it's a really good deal, and I'd love to be in the ballpark of that.
Okay.
Yeah, we're trying to find a similar player and get our player paid at a similar level of somebody who they produce very similarly.
The issues we obviously had last season was with the passing game. I mean, I think all three of our receivers, Marquise Lee stepped his game up, but all three of our receivers didn't necessarily give us the production that we're looking for. And in case you guys didn't notice, we have this other guy, Allen Robinson, that we have to look into his contract in a year from now.
Unrestricted free agent. You will only have 3 wide receivers on your roster as of 2018 if you do not sign Marquise and Robinson.
Right.
So and the other 2 have a combined total receptions of 6 the past 2 seasons.
And by your own admission, you just said you had underperforming wide receivers, of which Mr. Lee was not one. He was actually one of the overperforming ones, by your own admission.
Well, he was second in receiving yards, so he wasn't the most performing wide receiver. And also, when you look at Hearns' deal, you're talking about a guy that's got 20 touchdowns versus a guy that's got 6 touchdowns. But that's really, I see why you want to make the comparison. But let's make a deal for Marquise. Let's get down to the rocks of it. You guys want a 5-year deal. We want a 2-year deal. Where can we meet in the middle?
Can we work with the numbers on a 4 and see where we come up?
We could definitely work with the numbers on the 4.
What kind of deal are you guys proposing for a 4-year deal?
Yeah.
We're starting off at $4 million base salary per year across the board. No raises per year, and we're looking to get a substantial signing bonus so that our client puts some money in his pocket up front.
Substantial signing bonus?
Well, we think, we've looked at the signing bonuses for the, 10 players at that position who perform similarly, and we believe that $8 million signing bonus is very reasonable.
Randall Cobb had a $13 million not too long ago. Travis Benjamin had a $5 million, and Marvin Jones this past season, who was also underperformed in comparison to Lee, got an $8 million signing bonus too. So we'd love to keep it right in.
Well, here again, those are other teams, other players, and we can also spout off some guys that are outperforming him and getting paid less than him. So $8 million is really not anywhere close to where we want to be. We want to be more along the lines of guaranteed money of $1 million. $1 million signing bonus.
That's less than are guaranteed on our rookie contract.
You want to go 4 years, and he's not a rookie anymore. He's 25. So
Exactly. He's in the peak
point.
of his performance. The most wide receivers at the age of 25 to 28, which you will be getting him, is going to peak. And then after that, he will decline, and he will not be able to get a contract as large. So this is our contract season.
What do you guys want us to do about the injuries? Because we know that the first 2 years...
He's missed 9 games out of 54 total. That is not substantial. And last season, they sat him out at the end because they were 1-12. You don't play a big player in that time.
So you guys are at 8. We're at 1. Where do you guys think we can meet? I can tell you this: we can't come far above for a guaranteed signing bonus. We can maybe look at guaranteeing some salary, but the structure we'd like to put it at would be $1 million signing bonus, and let me look at.
Y'all are the 26th overall in team spending, and next season you will have $50 million to spend. You only have 11 roster spots on your roster, and this would be a great time. We could restructure. We don't necessarily have to set up a deal for 2018. Let's see what we could do in 2017. We're getting paid $1.25 million. Let's just try knocking it up to 3.5. Restructure, add another 2 years to the deal, and get a little signing bonus in there.
I think it's going to be very difficult to discuss, big bonuses when we got the Allen Robinson deal next year, because as much as he underperformed this year, we're kind of dead set on using him as a star player in the future. I think there's a lot of reasons why our passing game, as I was talking about earlier, it declined this year. I don't think that was necessarily because of Allen Robinson. I think there was a lot of factors there. But Allen Robinson is kind of a guy we're keying in on that we want to keep on the team. And the bonus that you guys are asking, $5 million bonus, that's
It's an $8 million bonus.
$8 million bonus. That's money that we could be, using for Allen Robinson in the future, and it's a little too much for us right now.
Then if you're looking just at, one position's future, then,
Okay, we proposed 8, you proposed 1. Realize our goal here is that our client puts some money in his pocket up front, okay? There are multiple ways to do that.
How do you guys feel?
That could be a guarantee of some of his base salary. Would you guys be willing to at least discuss, we're going further than you. Would you be willing to discuss $3 million signing bonus and then continue the conversation about the base salary and possibly guarantee some of that for the first year?
We can guarantee more salary, but we're pretty dead set on the signing bonus. And either way, to you, it's just a matter of getting money right up front versus, next you get it in 17 or 18. And 18, and I'm sure Mr. Marquise doesn't want to take the hit on taxes.
Oh, correct.
For all in 1 year. So give me a proposal of the structure you'd like to see, and let's meet in the middle and just make the deal work, because you guys want to be here, we want to be here, but we want you to realize that Marquise, while he is a good player, he's our number 3. Number 3 can be filled by anybody in the league. Stephon Diggs, we can fill him with Terrell Pryor.
He's number 2.
How do you guys feel about incentives?
We love incentives.
If we could add some, not likely to be earned incentives, if you guys know what those are.
Yeah, we got, I think we were at 856 yards, so we can say 857 yards, and we get at least $1 million incentive.
Well, why don't we round it up to 900? Would that be fair enough for you guys?
Okay, yeah, we were saying to outperform.
Round it up to 900, and what we can do is we can give them, let's say, $250,000 for that incentive.
I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. I think it's important that we get to the base salary before we start talking about incentives that are, especially the ones that are not likely to be.
I'm just trying to get more of an even ground because I feel like the bonus, the signing bonus, the
Let's continue to discuss it. I think that we can get to a conclusion. You guys are at 1 million. We proposed a $4 million first, $4 million salary.
All right. How do you think you did?
I think that if we had 4 times as much time, we might have made a great deal.
Yeah. I really don't like Marquise Lee. I really don't like him.
I don't either.
You got to rep Scenerio because I really don't think he's going to be good at all.
How do you think you did as compared to yesterday?
Yesterday, we got down to the deal. Today, we messed around with all these stats and crap, and that kind of ticked
It's
me
hard
off.
when you have no interest in signing a player. Like I have no interest.
We
in
took more time yesterday
in
too.
re-signing
Yeah, we did.
him.
Yeah.
What did you think watching? How did it come across? Yeah.
I think they talked a lot about the nitty-gritty of football, but little about the deal itself.
Yeah.
I'd like to have seen more of
I agree 100% with that. This is not a stats discussion. This is a proposal.
It almost felt like a fantasy football meeting versus
I'm good at
as
that.
much a contract negotiation.
Oh, before I forget, and so we got to stay away from the camera, even when you even touch one of the cords, sometimes it's really finicky and goes off. So we stay away from the camera and the door. So everybody should stay on that side.
What else? What else did people do?
I think that Matt, he was kind of stuck on a few points, and yesterday you said that if you can't agree on
Right.
a few points, move on to another point, but he kept bringing it back, and I guess that was really important in your scenario. But he kept bringing it back, and hey, let's talk about the signing bonus, let's talk about the paragraph 5, and he tried to move on, and he said, let's talk about not likely to be earned.
Right, right. So, a couple things that I saw. Number one of the things we noticed in the first group was how well the partners worked together. This was a little disjointed, only because you made a number, then almost you came back and said, we're getting ahead of ourselves, let's not talk incentives. So in other words, your partner was the one who said, I like incentives, and you came back and said, well, let's get it, because you were trying to get the base salary done. You were willing to kind of cut a deal. It was very obvious you didn't want to cut a deal. So there was some just different angles going across. It was almost like there were 4 people having a negotiation instead of 2 sides. And that's one of the things that you want to be careful that you're on the same page.
Well, this is our first go round.
It is, so that's what you're
Yeah.
practicing. I thought you did a good job of identifying the facts. You got to be careful not to go too far with statistics. Because what can happen is, you said at one point when you were trying to describe the Alan Hearns deal, are you trying to say it's a bad deal? You're trying to say we don't know what we're doing? So you got to be careful that when you recite to them what they did, that it gets in their knickers a little bit, because they're going to perceive that as a negative connotation of the deal. You guys gave Alan this, or Hearns this, and you're going to give Robinson this, but our guy, and then you did this lousy deal, and it just comes across that way. So you have to be careful, because then they're going to get defensive on somebody that's not even your player, right? So now they're going to be defending the Allen Robinson and the Alan Hearns deal, and that's not even your guy. So when you throw another player into the mix, you can throw the conversation into a debate on something that doesn't even have to do with your player. And you want to spend the time on getting the deal done with your player. Let's see. I think you guys worked, well in terms of trying to find some alternative positions. When you did get to incentives, you guys said at one point, we love incentives. Well, remember, incentives are soft cash versus hard cash. So you always love hard cash more than you love incentives. You're willing to consider incentives, but I don't think you ever want to say you love incentives, because the player has to perform to get that money so it's money now versus money later. One of the things you guys could have mentioned, remember how we talked about the percentage of money that you spend by position? You've already got a heck of a lot of money at wide receiver. So giving him a big number is going to be something that's going to throw your total cap off. So that would have been a good time. Give them some sense of limitations. You never said any reason why you couldn't do the deal. So it always seemed within your
Alan
purview.
Robinson?
No, with respect to Marquis. In other words, you want to be able to say, you did say we're going to try to save some money for him, but you got to be able to say, look, we don't have the resources to make 3 players highly paid at that one position.
Yep.
We don't have the choice. You have to give some kind of, otherwise they can just keep hitting you and say, well, you could give us whatever we want. So give them some sense of a cap or a limitation on what you're able to do. Talked about guaranteed base salary, that's a great alternative. You guys are willing to consider doing it, so that's looking. When you first said the 5-year deal, you didn't say why, and then Carl came back and said, well, why do you want a 5-year deal? So you might want to offer that out as you're pitching it, just to give them some reason, because he may be, it happened 2 or 3 minutes after you said it, he may have already been assuming for different reasons. Now he would have said, oh, you only meant it because, so you would have maybe lost some time had you said it. The other thing is, don't sell the downside of a deal. Look, this isn't a bad deal for you. You guys can cut it in 3 years, and you say, you know, that's something that they can do and they can choose. But always argue the strength of your deal. Let them figure out the downside. You know, you have the advantage. They know they, of course, can cut the player, but most teams don't want to do a deal with the understanding that midway through they're going to cut the player, because they say, well, if you really think that, why are we even doing a deal? If you think that potential even exists, I'm not sure we should talk about it. So you always want to maintain your player at the highest level. Let them understand the downsides.
Remember to find the time to recap at some
Yeah.
point in time in that setting. Do a hypothetical, what if we took this back to them? And of course, you were good already at the creativity, but.
We never even came to anything to recap.
Yeah, and the thing you have to think about is how you show market value is to say, here's comparable salaries to players that have accomplished the same goals as this player. And that information is relevant. It's not governing, but it's relevant. Then you want to take that value and then say, how does this have value to you on your team? Because the more you stay outside in terms of market analysis, the tougher it is to get back down. What hurt you guys is you got so far away from the deal with peripheral stuff that you couldn't get down to the deal. So you were debating values outside of this particular player, you were debating other players, you got to one point you were talking about Marvin Jones and Randall Cobb. I mean, you were going around the mulberry bush instead of really kind of zoning in. What is Marquise Lee's value to their team? How much do you value him as a player? Put salary aside, do you think he's a critical player to your team? If so, wouldn't you like to have him for the next 2 years? Isn't it cheaper now than paying that money later? Isn't it a reason for you to keep continuity between your 3 receivers? Wouldn't you like to have a quarterback-receiver tandem in place for the next few years? Other teams that have done that have had success. Now I'm selling the player. I'm selling this. I'm not trying to make an argument from the outside and force it in. You want to do a little bit of that, but you want to spend the bulk of your time on why the deal works internally, why it is good for you, and why you should want to see that value. You understand the difference?
How do you redirect when it's turning into this? I felt like I tried to redirect. Let's go to the deal. Let's do the deal. Let's move toward a deal versus listening to the periphery.
It is. I think you had to put your foot down. You tried it once. You said, guys, look, we're getting all over the place here. Let's go back to Marquise. And I think what you got to say is, guys, if you want to talk about another player, I'm happy to bring their agents in. We can sit down and have a discussion with them. But last time I checked, you guys work for Marquise Lee. So let's make the discussion about him. Please don't tell me about another player. I don't work with those players. The players that are on my team. I don't spend any time thinking about those players. I only want to talk about, and I only want to talk about Alan Hearns because I have to go, I'm meeting his agent in a half hour. So what I want to talk about is Marquise Lee. I think that's, and then you're the team. Remember I said you got the axe. You got to be firm and say, guys, if you want to talk about other players, I got a luncheon to go to. Okay? All right, good job.